Hi, everybody. I'm Connor Hurley. I am a senior program specialist and policy analyst with the National Education Association. I wanted to start by thanking Eric and Lisa and Maria and the entirety of the Cleveland panel for that great presentation and for the great work that you've done. I also want to introduce my colleague and our member and our local leader in West Ottawa, Michigan, Theresann Pyrett, who will be talking to you in a few minutes. She's a middle school French teacher in West Ottawa and our local president. Additionally, one of the components that the NEA has done in our communications around ARP funding is we've messaged out to members and the public using animated videos to tell the story of how this money can go and be effectively used to help our members, to help public education as a whole. And so I wanted to introduce that video to you all and share one of them. We have a series of 5 of these, and today we'll be sharing the story of Lakeisha, who's an educator from California, who'll be on this video in a moment. Thank you.
Our students lost a significant part of their childhood when COVID happened. They were very dependent on me, which was incredibly tough when you have 23 students, and out of those, 21 have additional needs. I could not do that by myself. When I heard our superintendent was seeking volunteers to address how the district would use the federal relief funds, I knew this was something I wanted to be a part of. In our district, we were able to support our students by hiring additional intervention teachers and to support our educators by hiring instructional coaches to help support them in the classroom. It's been incredible to have people that you can lean on to ensure that we're meeting the needs of our students at all times. It's so critical for educators to use their voice and to hold their districts accountable. When I'm engaged in union work, I know that I'm working with people who have my same passion for kids, for public schools, for our communities, because that's what our kiddos deserve.
Hi, everyone. My name is Theresann Pyrett. I've been a French teacher in Holland, Michigan at Macatawa Bay Middle School in West Ottawa Public Schools since 2011 and have served as the president of the West Ottawa Education Association since 2020. I wanted to extend a special thank you to the NEA and CCSSO for inviting me here today to address you all about the impacts of COVID ESSER funds and the innovative work of my dedicated colleagues during the pandemic. In the first months of COVID, we as a nation finally recognized that the 19th century educator and philosopher Horace Mann was correct when he stated in his essays, "Education then, beyond all other divides of human origin, is a great equalizer of conditions of men." When our school doors closed in March 2020, we as educators knew what our communities were soon to discover, that there was a stark inequity of access to our students. That inequity of access spanned from internet connectivity to medical care, to mental health services, to reliable nutrition. Being early to recognize these needs, educators across the country worked to give access to our students' needs from a safe distance. In the West Ottawa community, we spent every ESSER dollar on outcomes for students. We immediately delivered days worth of meals, parked buses in neighborhoods to create mobile hotspots for our students. We provided our educators with document cameras and access to technology resources to help pivot our curriculum to virtual instruction, while ensuring that every student K-12 had access to a Chromebook to receive instruction and communicate with trusted adults. When we returned to in-person learning in the fall of 2020, we knew that not only were our students' learning gaps going to be great, but their need for supportive, highly trained adults was going to be even greater. So at West Ottawa, we hired more than 20 additional support staff to help with student mental wellness, math and ELA instruction, and behavior coaches throughout the district. Additionally, we developed an in-house virtual learning platform and expanded our summer school program. All of these interventions required additional staffing, but as educators, we know that to best meet student needs, we need more hands on deck. I'm extremely proud of the work of my colleagues in responding to the COVID crisis. As educators, we learned many lessons through the pandemic that in my school we refer to as COVID keeps. These include the extent to which we can innovate and reinvent, how to try new things, and how to fail forward. But even greater, we learned that the problems highlighted by COVID weren't new. They were longstanding issues caused by chronic underfunding of our public education system. ARP funding provided the funds that we used to not just address the newly highlighted issues we found our students facing, but allowed us to create programs that, if appropriately funded, could last in perpetuity. With funds drawing to a close this fall, we're seeing our virtual programming shrink, our added interventionists and mental wellness coaches and our behavior coaches are being reduced at a time when student behaviors are at an all-time high, while student mental wellness is at an all-time low. For the next decade, we are going to see unprecedented need as we work to serve the generation of students who experienced the COVID pandemic at such a transformational age. With this being Educator Appreciation Week and Teacher Appreciation Day, I think of my colleagues and the members of my association. During the pandemic, we heard this collective outcry throughout our nation that educators aren't appreciated enough and we don't pay them enough and support our schools. But in the current headlines, we're seeing schools and educators pulled into political discourse. As we are seeing ESSER funds start to dissipate, we are seeing the morals, curriculum, and books of educators called into question. I recently heard this referred to by one of my colleagues as a form of whiplash. The educators that I'm lucky enough to work alongside, to call my friends, are some of the most hardworking humans I know. Their singular focus is how to meet students' needs, period, full stop. At the end of the day, schools need additional funding. While any teacher would admit that they are likely underpaid for the training and certifications they hold, the first thing they would advocate for would be additional resources to meet the needs of every child that sits before them. They would advocate for the research-based interventions that we know work: smaller class sizes, added paraprofessionals, interventionists, EL coaches, counselors, and mental wellness advisors. We've always known that those interventions work. During COVID, we saw the immediate impact these measures can have on our classrooms and on outcomes for students. As the programs and professionals are disappearing with the end to ESSER funds, needs persist. Investing in a highly trained, well-educated, passionate workforce is going to be essential in creating outcomes for kids, especially over the next decade, as we continue to confront the longstanding needs exposed by the COVID crisis. Thank you so much.